A little girl around 8 years old said her father had taken in with a stroke and passed away suddenly, so her mother was the sole provider for 7 children. They lived at their granny house, and the mother was going to the mountains to weed and plant provisions. She even bought meat and fish to sell and make parched ground nuts so her children can sell them in the evenings. That way, she can provide food and basic necessities, and made sure they went to the Roman Catholic Church every Sunday morning. They were poor, but the mother was hard-working and made sure they never went without food and clothes. One night, the older sister was sleeping in a room facing the road and started shouting, "Mommy, look, a woman in here standing up over me," and the lamp outed. This continued for weeks, a little before 3 o'clock every morning. One night, the same thing happened, and when the mother went out in the hallway and lighted the match, there was a woman in a long white dress standing up, so the mother started cursing and asked, "Who you? Go back where you come from." The side window to the door fly open and the woman went out on her head. The mother ran to the window and hung out her head and started cursing the Duppy, saying, "Don't come back here." When she took her head back in the house, she was stiff and couldn't speak. Her children started crying and rubbing her up with alcohol. The next day, she went to a spiritual Baptist mother who was not living too far from them and told her what is going on for the past few weeks. The mother decided to have a prayer service by the house. On the day of the prayers, they prayed and prayed. The Baptist mother told the lady after praying that an evil spirit is in her home, and if it wasn't for her late husband protecting them, it would have been worse. They smoked the house and left the night. Everyone in the area was afraid to sleep because the voice of a woman was heard crying and begging to go back where she came from. The next morning, the granny and her mother got up early and went down the road to a nearby bakery to buy penny bread and chocolate for tea. When they got home, a neighbor living below them ran outside from her kitchen and called out to the granny. Terrified and looking everywhere, she said, "I didn't sleep last night. You not hear the woman on the road?" As she asked a question, a woman with a nasal voice called out to the neighbor by name 3 times and said, "P. P. P." The granny and the mother ran home as fast as they could, while the neighbor ran back in her house. The next week, the neighbor was nowhere to be found. The spiritual mother said it was she who provoked the Duppy and sent it to the granny house. That's why it was calling her. It wanted her to take it back to the Grenadines, and that's where she was when she went missing. It was said that the neighbor did it because she was Badmind. She was acting like she was their friend, and her children were always at the granny house eating. After she returned from taking the Duppy back to the Grenadines, she was always cursing the granny because she realized that she didn't succeed in unaliving them.
Like and follow for more.